We could all stand and honor America by saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Leahy.
Here.
Mr. Leary.
Here.
Ms. Martin.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
Mr. Conway.
Here.
Ms. Doherty.
Here.
Ms. Faticante.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It is a distinct honor and a pleasure to have in our company this evening the Honorable Senator Stephen Panagiotakis, State Representative David Nangle, and Deborah Bebeau from Amesbury School Committee, representing the Massachusetts School Committee. She's President. Stephen Finnegan, Massachusetts School Committee, General Counsel. Michael Gilbert, Massachusetts School Committee Field Director, and Katie Roby from Marlborough, Massachusetts. Thank you for being here. You are here this evening to recognize a public servant who possesses the integrity, the dedication, the commitment that we all know and love and enjoy. And you people are here to honor Senator Stephen Panagiotakis this evening as the legislator of the year. So I ask at this moment if Deborah Bebeau, Stephen Finnegan, Michael Gilbert, and Katie Roby would please come to the podium. And also part of this presentation will be school committee member Jackie Doherty.
Thank you, Mayor, and Lowell School Committee, and the City of Lowell. I do want to recognize Jackie Doherty, who is a member of the MASC Board. She chairs the Urban Division, and she represents Lowell in a very positive light. She is constantly visiting the State House here in Massachusetts, as well as federally, being at the Federal Relations Network. And I want to thank her for her efforts on the board of MASC as well. We're so pleased that one of our alumni is the second ranking member of the State Senate. Panagiotakis understands the problems we have in budget crisis. We know that when there is a way, Steve will support us. Steve really delivered for our local school districts last year. For his commitment, for his understanding, and for getting it done for us, we're thrilled to make him our Legislator of the Year for 2008.
Thank you very much. It's a much bigger of a reception than I thought when I first came over, so I really appreciate it. That was very nice of you. The Mass Association of School Committees has been a resource for so many of us elected officials, first starting out, getting involved in school issues, and they've just been a wonderful resource and advocates, as I found out down on Beacon Hill, for the public school children and systems of Massachusetts. So again, I want to thank all of you who belong and administer and represent the Massachusetts Associations of School Committees. Thank you. Being here tonight brings back memories. It's good to see Miss Sweet over there. I haven't seen her in a while, and she's the one that basically teaches us parliamentary procedure. Unfortunately, for some of us, it didn't take, right, Regina? But she does her best, and she's continuing to teach. But to be here in this chamber at a school committee meeting brings back so many wonderful memories. Got started in 1990 right here as a new member of the school committee, and it was difficult times, much like we're going through right now. And I would say this to you, that you have to stick together. And there's going to be tough decisions that will have to be made as we get through this, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. The key is trying to make the best decisions for the quality of education, and especially the instruction in the classroom as you go forward. I've often said that, you really, if you have a teacher with a student, you have education. So the number one key basic component for education is that teacher. And you have to kind of remember that as you go forward, and you're looking at the difficult decisions that lay ahead for all of us. And it's not just at the educational level. It's throughout state government and local governments. But sometimes, the old adage is necessity is the mother of invention. But I believe that crisis can be the father of change, and that's change for the good. Sometimes during difficult times, the old political walls can break down, and we can really think outside the box and build upon some good reform and good change that makes sense, not just for the immediacy to get through the crisis, but for long term, so that as we go forward into good times and into bad times, because they are cyclical, that we'll be in a better position as we get down that road. Again, anybody who serves on the school committee certainly has my undying respect. We entrust you with the education of thousands of children here in the city of Lowell, and making those policy decisions, as well as the superintendent and her administration executing and administering those decisions. And we have a wonderful system. For a public urban system, we can be very, very proud here in the city of Lowell that we have one of the best. There are a lot of challenges that go along with that, but you have met those challenges and you continue to meet those challenges. That's not to say there isn't work to be done. We all have work to be done. I have work to be done. The school system has work to be done, but we're going to get there. But just remember, as we go through, as I said, some shared sacrifice here, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We'll get to the end, but we need to make sure that we try to make those decisions in the most respectful way to the foundation or fundamental principle of education, and that's the teacher and the children in the classroom. Again, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. This is starting to sound like What's My Life?
I'd just like to recognize two of my colleagues on the City Council, Councilor Michael Lindsay, who is present, and also Councilor Bill Martin, former mayor. Thank you for being here. The senator is extremely humble, and he excels in making presentations to other people, always thanking other people for the commitment, for the dedication, and for their community spirit. And Senator, this is on behalf of the entire City Council, the Lowell School Committee. This is a citation, be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby offers its sincere congratulations to State Senator Stephen C. Panagiotakis upon achieving the Legislator of the Year award from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. Senator Panagiotakis began his career in public service on the Lowell School Committee, and he has always been a strong advocate for quality education. The entire city commends Senator Panagiotakis for his outstanding accomplishments and wishes him the best for continued success given his 21st day of January by Mayor Caulfield and the entire elected body in this city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we still have more.
More parting gifts?
Senator, this is the highest honor we can present to someone. And you have been such a tremendous advocate of people, not only in your district, but throughout the state. You're loved and respected immensely in the State House, but you're loved and respected even more in your city. And this is the key to our city, Senator. It will open up every door in City Hall except the Treasurer's office.
That's the key one. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Judy?
Thank you.
I would also like to thank Deborah Bebeau from Amesbury for being here, Stephen Finnegan, the General Counsel, Michael Gilbert, the Field Director of the Massachusetts School Committee Association, and Katie Roby from Marlborough. Put your hands together for those people for being here.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess so that we can set up for our next Spotlight on Excellence, please.
Okay, motion to have a 5-minute recess, seconded by Mr. Conway. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Recess is in order. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I neglected to recognize City Manager Bernie Lynch, who is also in attendance. I'm sorry. What's that?
Very good, very good. Back to normal. Hey, John. Fine, how are you? See ya. Hi, Gina. Fine, how are you?
All set?
Give me 2 seconds, I'm sorry. I put this away, so I don't get lost.
Madam Clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Leahy,
Yes. Present.
Mr. Leary,
Present.
Miss Martin. She's absent. Mayor Caulfield,
Here.
Mr. Conway,
Here.
Miss Doherty,
Here.
Miss Fattacante.
Here?
6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is a spotlight on excellence. The Lowell High School Student Activities will have a presentation by Headmaster William Samaras and Chief Master Sergeant Robert Jakes. In this program, we met with the superintendent, Mr. Samaras, T.J. McCarthy, Andy Sheehan, Lynn Brown-Zunas, Diane Banowski from my office, and we want to reach out and help the elderly remove the snow from the sidewalks and driveways. And this will not be possible without the cooperation of the ROTC program. And these students are waiting and eager to go out and help the elderly in our city. So without any further ado, I'd like to have Bill Samaras and Chief Master Sergeant Robert Jakes come forward, and they have worked tirelessly on this project, and it's almost too good to be true. I just want to state that the business community has purchased the 200 shovels. They're all the best quality shovels. The business community bought the best for the students, and I can't thank Bill Samaras and Chief Master Sergeant Robert Jakes for their dedication, putting this program together that's going to not only help the elderly, but put a nice feather in the cap of Lowell High School. Mr. Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Caulfield. Actually, I'm just here to reap the rewards of being headmaster of Lowell High School. First of all, I want to commend the mayor because it was Mayor Caulfield who was concerned about the elderly and their ability to deal with the snow that we've been having. And he went to Superintendent Scott looking for volunteers. And it's simple. When you're looking for volunteers, you're looking for community service, you go to the Lowell High School Junior ROTC program. But before I introduce Chief Jocks, I want to thank James Rivaz, Senior Vice President of Woodward and Curran, for his support, George Duncan from the Enterprise Bank, Jim Cook from the Lowell Plan, T.J. McCarthy and the City Manager for all of their help, because without a program like this, it couldn't help. We couldn't put something like this together. And also the Lowell School Committee, because without your support to organizations like the Lowell High School ROTC and allowing them to do the many projects that they do, this vision couldn't come together. So I'd like to just introduce Chief Jocks and his crew who have done all of the preparations so far, but I want you to hear about the planning and what they're able to do. Thank you very much. Chief Jocks.
Thank you, Mr. Samaras.
Well, good evening. I'd like to, if I could, I'd like to go to the map, if I could, but I'd like to have my colleagues come up, because it's a team effort. We do this together, and we put this together. It's been countless hours, and what we plan to do is, if I could I give that to the superintendent for right, so she can follow along? Because I don't think you have one, do you, ma'am? Can we do that? You go, ma'am. We have, before I go there, we have about 200, a little over 200 students. Now, we have 430 students in the program, but we wanted to start with 200 students to go ahead and see how this would work, and we believe that we've kind of narrowed this down. We call it Operation Rosebud. You could probably understand why we call it Operation Rosebud, and if you don't understand that, we'll give you that at the end. We don't want to, we keep your curiosity here. But we'd like to go up here if I could, and I'll just explain everything to you.
Oh, aren't they cute?
Chief?
Test. You want me to hold this? Okay. All right. The way we did it is, if you follow along in your books, you'll see that we have it all set up where we're going to go ahead and break down the city into 4 zones. Mr. Donovan has been so gracious to go ahead, and I'm going to work with him tomorrow, and he's going to break it down even further for me. And what we did is we broke out the zones into 4 zones. We have Pawtucketville and Centerville as 1 zone. We have the Highlands, Lower Highlands and Upper Highlands. We have the downtown area, the Acre, and back Central will be another zone. And then Sergeant Casilli has Sacred Heart, South Lowell, and he has Belvedere and Lower Belvedere. And what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and have the aging center, the senior center, is going to go ahead and get a phone call. And people are going to call in and say, I am from Pawtucketville, and I am looking for someone to shovel my street, my home. It's on such and such an avenue. And they're going to look at the map, and we have it broken out, and they're going to say, okay, it's in Pawtucketville 3. So they know that that's Chief Bobby Jacques' zone. So they're going to make the phone call to me, and I'll call the captain of each one of those zones. They'll go ahead and they'll get a hold of their team. Now, what we did is we put the teams into the 4 or 5 different areas, and we have their phone numbers. So it's a recall roster. And what this will do is they'll trigger the recall roster. They'll call each one of the people in the zone, and we have 5 people in the zone. Most likely some have 6. And then they'll dress up in this attire. And we want to do that because, first of all, when they're walking, we're trying to go ahead and work it so it's within 3 or 4 streets of each other, no more than 5, so they can all meet each other. So when they go to someone's home, they'll have a form that they'll have to give to the homeowner to sign, releasing the liability. One form is going to go back to their parents so they can do this. And then when they go there, they'll have their Lowell High School hat on, their wonderful vest, and they'll have their shovel, school ID. And now we're working to get gloves and also some socks. So we pretty much have this on the way here. But we feel that, there might be some hiccups at the beginning because as everything else goes, it's going to be the first time and see how it all unfolds, and we're going to do this. Now, it will say that Sergeant Casilli is at the Cape and his phone's not working for some other reason. Or they'll call me. If they can't get me, they'll call Dave. They can't get David, they'll call the colonel. So we have it all covered where we have a backup. In fact, also, if Zone 1, they don't have enough people, which they should, then they know that they got Zone 2, and they'll work that out where people will kind of fold in, and everybody will work together to make this work. Now, we feel this way. When it happens, Karen is our secretary, and you were so gracious to let us have her last year, and she's been a great asset. All these books and everything here, she's been doing all this great work. And without her, we wouldn't be able to go as far as we've gone. So we say thank you, Karen. But more than that, when this is all done, Karen's going to go ahead and get a copy of each person's address, and she's going to send them. In the books that you'll see is a survey. Now, the survey will basically say, did you like the service? Yes, I did. Would you want it forever, so to speak? Yes, I do. Now, they'll automatically be put on almost like filling your oil barrel. When the next storm comes, they go right there to their home, and they do their home. And that's what we're going to do. So we feel it's going to build. Now, the mayor told me there's like 35 people waiting. We've got people, even our students, which they're pretty aggressive here. They've already talked to the people in the neighborhood and say, "Hey, Mr. Jones, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and shovel your yard." Well, when are you going to shovel? We had it last week. We're all waiting on the shovels. Now the mayor's got these great shovels. Show them the shovels. He told me today that they even got a 30% break on these shovels. Right now, I got to tell you, T.J. McCarthy and his guys are second to none. I mean, I've worked with them before. But I'll tell you, when I first went to the first meeting, the superintendent was there, and we had assistant city manager, is that who it was there, sir? My great leader, Mr. Samaras was there, and we sat at the round table, and I think the mayor got a little mad at me, because I was asking a lot of questions, and I was asking probably more questions than he probably wanted me to ask. But I think what we have to do, and I think it says it right, his concern was our students, but his also concerns was to make it right, make it work, and also to take care of the elderly, and I think that's what we're all about. And my guys here, they know, and they're great guys here. We got a great team, like the Four Horsemen. We kind of work this together all the time. But more than that, these students here, you know, Josh Guerra just got accepted, Josh, to UMass Lowell. He's going there. And they're all going to the national competition in April. But more than that, they know that they can make a difference for people. And they know that there's hard times out there, and they know people can't afford to do the things that normally we could do maybe a couple years ago. So we have to change. And if change comes, then we're all ready to go. So we're ready to do this. We're excited. We think we can get this up to speed. I was looking for the shovels. They said they were coming today, and I looked for them today. We think that by Friday we're going to be ready to go. And on this weekend, you know, if it snows this weekend, we're off and running. So when it happens, now Jay Lang said that he's going to call us, but Jay, no problem. It's about $60 for you, buddy. But other than that, we just say to you, we appreciate your support of our program. We want to do our best to go ahead and give back to the community. We do 20,000 hours. This is going to really put us over the top. We were the top unit in the Air Force last year for community service. But you know what? They enjoy it. And every survey we get, every one of the guys we talk about at the end of the year, every survey they get, they say, what is the one big reason why you're in junior ROTC? To give back to my community. Without failure, I feel like I am part of it. And then we get guys and gals that, you know, getting ready to graduate from colleges that you went ahead and let them go to North Georgia. They're going to be fighter pilots and everything else. You know, they say, you know what, I remember going to do this community service. I remember I told the guys here, and I remember I told the guys there, are you still doing this? Are you still doing that? So the tradition goes on. Make sure my brother does that. And that's because of you all, and that's because of our great city and these guys here. You know, we can't say enough. They graduate, they go on, we come back and we see them. But we're going to let them keep the hat at the end of the year, and the gloves and the socks. But everything else, they can't keep it. So this is the zones. Like I said, this is the way it's going to be unfolded, and this is going to be even broken down even further. I can get you a copy of the maps as we go through. We can give you a monthly report, whatever you want. We'll be able to give you and tell you how many we did, whatever you wanted. We'll tell you the man hours that we put through this whole process, and we have it all broke down for you. So, any questions?
All I can say, Chief Master Sergeant, you are the best, and your colleagues and all these students are just incredible, and they're going to reach out and help people, and that's what it's all about. Thank you so much.
Well, we thank you, Mayor, because you're a very passionate guy, and you know what? It's someone like you that makes a difference in the city, and we thank you, and we love you. You're a great guy. Thank you. Okay.
I would just like to say that there will be an army of students out there removing snow from people's sidewalks, but there was an army of people who sat for many meetings, and we had the full cooperation from Manager Lynch's office, Andy Sheehan's office, the superintendent of schools, T.J. McCarthy and Tommy Bellegarde, just incredible. They were running around today getting those shovels. And Mr. Samaras, thank you so much for your time and your dedication as well. I know Lynn Brown Zunas, Michael Damaris, just phenomenal employees of this great city. I just want to give out some other phone numbers besides the senior center. People could call the Citizens Hotline, 978-970-4035, or 978-446-7243. That's Michael Damaris's number. Or you can call the mayor's office, 978-970-4040. Are we going to reach out and address every sidewalk? Probably not, but we're going to reach out and do our fair share of them. And the elderly deserve this, and we can't do it without these students. And they are the best, and we promised them in May, we'll give them a great cookout with the best hamburgers and hot dogs you can probably grill. So all you guys in the school committee will be helping us cook those hot dogs and hamburgers. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will entertain a motion now to accept the minutes of the last meeting. Move to accept.
Motion to accept, Your Honor.
By Mr. Leary, second by Ms. Fattacani. All in favor of accepting the minutes of the last meeting, indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? The minutes have been accepted and placed on file. Permission to enter?
Yes, Your Honor. The University of Massachusetts at Lowell for $7,100 to co-develop program goals and strategies for faculty study groups, training and ongoing support of study group facilitators, and coordination of study groups in cooperation with the on-site planning team at the Lowell High School. The second one is funding provided by the School Improvement Grant. The second one is Community Teamwork, Inc. for $12,500 to provide academic and enrichment activities for up to 50 students in the extended time before and after school programs at the Greenwich Elementary School, funding provided by the 21st Century Grant.
The chair would like to recognize Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could ask if these two items could be taken up separately?
Your Honor, may permission to accept the motion to separate the two items?
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
These articles will be taken up separately. University of Massachusetts at Lowell. We have a debate.
Move approval?
Move approval
Second.
by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Fattacani. Roll call.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
The second article is Community Teamwork Incorporated, 167 Dutton Street, Lowell, Mass., $12,500.
Move approval, Your Honor.
Move approval by Ms. Fattacani, second by Mr. Conway. No debate, no issues. Roll call.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Present?
Mayor Caulfield,
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 present, approved.
Moving on with the agenda, under memorials by Regina M. Fattacante. Moment of silence with darkened chambers for Robert P. Dalton, father of Leslie Byrne, Greenhouse School teacher, and Brian M. McCaskill, courageous U.S. Army major whose parents live in Lowell. And the committee as a whole, Patricia A. Keegan, retired Maury School teacher and interim principal of the Ames, Colburn, and Elliott Schools, sister of Jackie Healy, Cardinal Connell School clerk, and sister-in-law of Robert Keegan, retired Moody School principal. Daniel J. Coughlin, member of a prominent Lowell family. Carol A. McAuliffe, member of a prominent Lowell family. Let us all rise for a moment of silence in darkened chambers. Thank you. May they rest in peace.
Thank you.
Any unfinished business? Public participation? Motion by Connie Martin requesting that the superintendent implement the established publication standards for all school newsletters and parents' communications. Seconded by Ms. Doherty. On the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just a request. I know that several years ago we had gone to some pains to develop a universal form that would be used in terms of not only the school-based publications, but really all the publications, school committee reports, minutes, all the different documents that the Lowell Public Schools distributes, wanting to really ensure that we had a consistency of at least visual image, so that we really could, anything that was distributed by the district was instantly recognizable as coming from the district. I think we've done a very good job, and I applaud the administration in that the materials that we received, certainly as school committee members, and the reports and all that is generated are using that standard reporting format, which I think has been a move in the right direction. What I would like to see is that in terms of our school newsletters and the parent communications that we send home, to ensure that they do have, at this point, I'm not looking for them all to look exactly the same. I'd like our schools to have the opportunity to be individualized, to be able to communicate with their parent communities in the way they feel is most appropriate. But I do think that we should require that there is, at the very least, a logo, that any publication that is traveling from any one of our schools home should bear the imprimatur of the Lowell Public Schools. And I think that that is something that can be very easily accomplished at all of our school sites. I know they take a great deal of time in developing their newsletters. The idea of being able to drop in a logo on their front page I don't think should be in any way difficult. And I think that it would accomplish the goal of ensuring that any time that this district communicates with our parent community, we do it in a somewhat standardized and at the very least recognizable way. So I would ask if the superintendent and her administration could investigate, determine the best way to implement that, and ensure that all of those publications do indeed bear that logo. Thank you.
Any discussion on the motion presented by Ms. Martin? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. We are now on to subcommittees. Safety Subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of January 7, 2009. Regina Fatacanti, Chair.
Thank you, Your Honor. The subcommittee meeting took place on Wednesday, January 7th, 8 o'clock here in the council chambers. School committee members and members of the safety subcommittee, Ms. Doherty, Ms. Martin, were present, along with the rest of the members of the school committee, Your Honor, yourself, school committee members Conway, Leahy, and Leary, along with Assistant Superintendent Murphy and our Superintendent Chris Augustus Scott. The first item on our agenda was student travel and field trip policy. I just want to remind the members that we took the vote to allow the ROTC to take the trip to the University of Georgia, where, Your Honor, those students were interviewed for placement at the university. And as you heard the Master Sergeant tonight say, that some of those students were accepted and they are going to become fighter pilots. And that's the goal of what we're trying to achieve here. So let me just say what we came up with as a policy for our student trips and travel. Educational trips, which are linked to academic advancement, extracurricular activities, or competitions representing Lowell Public Schools as opposed to optional selective recreational trips. So, Your Honor, the issue here being if the ROTC is going to compete, and we have an issue on our agenda tonight where the ROTC is going to compete, or one of our wrestlers has been invited to go to a competition, those are for educational advancement. If trips involve missing school, the trip must be tied to an educational purpose, and all students involved in the sponsoring club, team, or the program must be eligible to attend regardless of the financial cost. So, Your Honor, it's when we send the cheerleading team to compete someplace. Every member of the cheerleading squad attends because they are a unit and they go together to represent Lowell High School. We send the wrestling team someplace. We send the mock trial team someplace. Staff cannot collect money. I think this was probably one of the most important things that we decided. Staff cannot collect money, book hotel rooms, or issue parent permission forms for overnight trips without prior school committee approval. Application for approval must include a written justification and statement of the learning strands to be addressed by the trip. Unfortunately, Your Honor, we got an application sent to us regarding a trip to Canada that had learning strands itemized as learning strand 1, 5, 7, and 9. That doesn't help the school committee figure out what those learning strands are. They have to be spelled out. Guidelines were revised to include 4 additional requirements, with 2 guidelines being eliminated and number 3 and 7 from the existing policy. It was motioned by Ms. Martin, seconded by Ms. Doherty, to revise the Lowell School Department field trip policy. That was on a 3-0 vote. We talked about crossing guards. Ms. Doherty brought this up, and it was an extremely important issue. It was regarding the arrival and departure time of a crossing guard at a particular area. But we believe, Your Honor, that Mr. Dakota has successfully achieved an opportunity where the crossing guard will be present at the most used portion of the day. So I believe that that was solved. I know that there were some people who did not agree with all the issues of the travel policy, so I would entertain some discussion on that, Your Honor. So this is a new policy that we would
Right.
like to adopt.
Right. Why don't we take a roll call on the very first issue that was brought before us about the field trips and so forth?
Sure.
Any discussion? Mr. Leary?
Thank you, and a couple things I want to say. One, as the motion's laid out, I can support it, because it does do some of the obvious prerequisites that should be done. What I do want to say is that I think the entire committee, and I think the subcommittee members, which I'm not a member of, did try to articulate that they appreciate what the teachers and the professionals within the Lowell public system try to do when they bring a student or a prospective club going on a trip. I think what we're trying to do is not to disrespect them, and I think that's, as a committee, we can say that. We're just trying to really kind of tighten up loose areas that should be tightened up. For example, if you are going to be going for a trip, it should be substantiated that it's educationally sound. And it's not looking for a dissertation in writing, it's looking for a brief explanation that follows the alignment that we're governed under. So I think as a committee, and not to speak for all my committee members, but I think, at least for myself, and I think the committee would agree, we do respect our teachers, we respect their involvement and their attempts to bring different and challenging opportunities to students, and that involved travel, and we would continue to respect that. We're just trying to shore up really a policy so there is nothing, that there's less ambiguous nature going forward. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Faticani?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would not dispute anything that my colleague, Mr. Leary, has indicated. He is correct. We are trying to make the policy far more clear to all our staff. We are not saying you can't take a recreational trip. What we're saying is that when you're thinking about taking the recreational trip, you now need to keep some educational guidelines in order, and one of those is you shouldn't be missing any school. There are several considerations here, Your Honor. Yes, I read all the articles in the paper that said trips are educational. They are. But we have a responsibility to keep kids in the classroom for a certain number of hours every month and a certain number of days every year. That is one requirement, and we expect 14,000 children in our school system to adhere to those rules every day. And we expect teachers to adhere to those rules every day. So we are looking at an issue of equity with every teacher and every student. Being in the classroom is important, and we're not saying that taking a trip away is not important. It's extremely important. But we're asking teachers to be more cognizant of the days of departure and the days of return, and that there are many excellent educational travel companies that make those timeframes available.
Yeah.
And that's, we should be doing our homework to avail ourselves of those travel companies. We're not saying you can't go. We're saying you need to be more cognizant of some educational policies that we have in place.
I think what caught me a little bewildered with this whole issue is when they collected $8,000 from the parents to go on this trip and then look for a permission to go. And that's, you know, I didn't want to see the parents lose that money or the children lose that money, but you can't permit that to continue. And I think that's the very important sentence here. The staff cannot collect money without getting permission first. And, you know, field trips are very important, they're educational, and the students do benefit by it, but I don't think this elected body can let that to continue, to let them collect money and then say, we have to let us go. And if it's, I found that wrong, so. Why don't we take a roll call on this particular issue? Roll call, please.
I need a motion to approve.
Move approval by Ms. Martin.
Seconded by Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Faticante.
Yes?
7 yeas, approved.
Now, on the crossing guards.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Faticani, it indicates that the police department has a contract with the crossing guards
Yes.
per year, and they can't change that time.
Right. It's unsettling, Your Honor, and I believe that through the efforts of John Dakota, we really were able to try to manage that situation. We also asked Mr. Dakota to speak to the chief for the next contract session and change that particular language that says, once you sign the contract, it's set in stone, we won't change the start and stop
We're only
time.
talking 10 minutes here, right?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
So,
There is a motion, Your Honor, a motion by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Martin, that to ask the Transportation Coordinator, John Dakota, to submit a report in May 2009 on the start and stop times of all schools for the 2009-2010 school year. This report will then be presented to the Police Superintendent, Ken LaValle, to coordinate the crossing guard schedule with the school schedule. That would be the motion, Your Honor.
I would suggest we take a roll call vote on this.
Certainly.
I think, because I think that vote probably has a little more
Absolutely.
strength to it than a voice vote. So, Madam Clerk, we'll take a roll call on that, please.
Roll call.
Roll call by Ms. Fattacani, second by Ms. Martin.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield,
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Okay, you're welcome. The Joint Personnel and Finance Subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of January 15th, 2009 by Connie Martin, Chair of Personnel, and James Leary, Chair of Finance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I will begin this report. The meeting did take place. Present at the meeting were members of the Personnel Subcommittee, myself, Regina Fattacante, and David Conway. Also present from the Finance Committee were James Leary as chair of that committee, John Leahy and Jackie Doherty, and Mayor Bud Caulfield also attended. From the school department, we had Superintendent Chris Scott, Assistant Superintendent for Finance, Roger Lang, Jay Lang, Ian Murphy, our Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services, and Susan Mulligan, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel. Clearly, it was a very crowded meeting. One of the first topic that we did discuss was a proposal from the administration regarding a reorganization of our Parent Information Center. For any of our parents out there who are watching are aware, every child that enters into our district and every family that enters into our district has to access the Parent Information Center to do so. And it is a very, especially at specific times of the year, a very busy and vibrant place as families are coming into the district, learning about what educational opportunities there are, and signing their children up for all the appropriate school sites and transportation and food services. So it can be it's certainly a very busy place at various points throughout the year. We have been discussing over the last really couple years ways to improve the way services are delivered at our Parent Information Center, and I think that the administration has proposed what I think is a really interesting, I think inspired, and I really feel very positive about the motion and the movement forward that I think this reorg would represent. Really shifting from the Parent Information Center per se into more of a family resource center, which would be able to expand some of the offerings and information that parents are able to access, and would allow us in very difficult budget times to be able to streamline the staffing of that endeavor. I think the key thing is that there are currently two positions in play right now as we talk about this reorganization: the Parent Information Center Director and also our Transportation Director. The administration has put forth a proposal that would allow us to basically eliminate those two positions and create a new Family Resource Center Coordinator position. That position would be one in which we would strongly encourage our current Transportation Director to apply. I think I am quite confident as I speak on behalf of the committee in this vein to say that Mr. Dakota has done extraordinarily good work for this district, has been always very cognizant of safety issues, equally cognizant of budget issues, and I think has done a great service to this district in his position as transportation director. And I am very enthusiastic about him hopefully moving into this new position, which would expand his role, and I think would really benefit the way these services are delivered. The other position that we're talking about eliminating would be that the current Parent Information Center director position. As we were discussing this, one of the topics that came up was our district really has received, in no uncertain terms, I think, a very clear, I guess, warning that we need to be prepared for a changing population here in our city, that there are a number of different new groups, new linguistic minorities, who are going to be coming into our district in the next few years. And we are, I say quite proudly, a district that has shown great ability to absorb and to really flourish with these kinds of influxes of new citizens and new individuals, new children into our district. It does, however, place some added strains on our district, and I think it shows wisdom on the part of the administration for us to want to be able to be prepared for this new influx and to strengthen our English language learning offerings and opportunities. So we are in a unique position where our Parent Information Center director has extreme experience specifically in that area. It is an area that this district is going to need to call on in these next few years. So it is the anticipated plan in accord with this proposal, this reorganization, that there will be a additional position is going to be created within the English language learning department, and we would encourage the current Parent Information Center director, again, to apply for that position. And it's our hope that we'd be able to really still maintain the benefit of both these individuals as employees of this district, and still be able to reap those rewards of having them as part of the cadre of experts who run our district. That would, I believe, require a vote to accept the administration's proposal to reorganize Parent Information Center into this newly conceived Family Resource Center, and I would make that in the form of a motion.
Yes, seconded by Mr. Leary. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Leary?
Just briefly, Your Honor, thank you. Ms. Martin said it eloquently what we're trying to do. I think, in essence, why I'm excited about it, because it's going to align our existing departments for what may happen down the road, and that means additional loss of funding. It'll prepare us so that we're going to be excelling in an area where we need to excel for a variety of reasons to the students, to the taxpayer, the city of Lowell. And I think, without adding much more to what Ms. Martin stated, I'm very happy to vote yes for this. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
I'm sorry, if I could, Mr. Mayor, I did leave out one portion that I do think is important for us to be aware of. One of the other key staffing changes that will happen as part of this reorganization is that 3 current clerk positions that are in the Parent Information Center, they are going to be vacated because of retirements and individuals leaving, and because of the way that this reorganization has been structured, we're basically going to be able to take those 3 positions, and because of bringing together transportation with the traditional Parent Information Center group, we're going to be able to see savings and not have to refill those 3 positions. One of the positions has been reassigned someplace else, but we have been able to eliminate 2 clerk positions. Overall, that's going to we'll be able to realize a $100,000 savings because of this. I wanted to make sure I got that number out there. So just so as the committee is considering this vote, that is an important thing to consider as well. Thank you.
Madam Superintendent?
Just to add to Ms. Martin's comments, that's $100,000 to your FY09 budget.
Exactly. So that's current year will still be, and it will, of course, be of even more importance as we move forward in FY10.
I think this is an excellent proposal. Anytime you can lower costs and keep that teacher in the classroom to educate the children and so forth, this is what's going to have to happen not only in this school district, but school districts across the whole country. Any other discussion or debate? Ms. Doherty?
Thank you, Rona. I just want to ask a question. I probably asked in subcommittee, and I don't remember the answer, but because it is our point of entry for families as they sign up and get involved in the Lowell Public Schools, and we have so many families in Lowell where English is not their first language, I just want to make sure we are keeping bilingual staff, right? Because that has been, one of the major pluses of the Parent Information Center, that's where our, the majority of our second languages, we do have people who speak, and we are going to keep that staff. Is that correct? Through you to the superintendent.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
I think.
Madam Superintendent, go ahead.
Sorry. Yes, Ms. Doherty. My understanding is that our staff who speak 2 languages will be in place, not only there, but obviously we continue to want to hire staff who are bilingual. And as Ms. Martin mentioned, the influx of immigrants to our great city, we will require more people who have those skill sets. So not only are we hoping to maintain all we have, but I'm thinking that going forward, that will be a requirement that we can ask people to have, because we do need people to speak various languages. As one of your reports say, we have over 40 languages that our students speak throughout our system. So it's definitely an area that we're sensitive to and will continue to be.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield,
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Miss Doherty,
Yes.
Miss Fattacante.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
The second two, there were 2 other topics of discussion at this subcommittee, neither of which will require action tonight, but just to inform the full committee. We did discuss the topic of teacher-staff travel. Obviously, in these times, we want to be extremely cognizant of how we're spending our professional development funds. We all recognize that there are times, and really I think the bulk of our staff travel has become really these grant-mandated conferences and travel opportunities that, in applying for grants, are just part of the package, really. So those are really the only types of professional development that this committee has said that we recognize is a continuing need and that we will support. One of the things we do want to be, and that the subcommittee had requested, was to get a updated report from the department on exactly how our professional development fund stands at this current moment, kind of a snapshot in time of what professional development funds have already been encumbered, and what we are looking at for the remainder of this year, just so that the committee can be aware of where our spending is, so that we can make even better, more informed decisions for the future of this year, and obviously for next year as well. Third topic of discussion was regarding sick leave buyback for non-affiliated staff. Basically, this conversation had come up, and the committee does have a number of different questions, and it was a motion by Ms. Fattacante and seconded by Mr. Conway that we will reconvene the Personnel and Finance subcommittees for a discussion of this topic. We have invited the city solicitor and the city auditor to attend that meeting so that we can get updated information and then make our decision moving forward. So I would submit that as a report of progress from these 2 subcommittees, and if my co-chair has anything to add, it would be welcome.
Motion to accept the report as report of progress, seconded by Ms. Doherty. Any question? All in favor of accepting the report as report of progress, indicate by saying aye. The report has been accepted as report of progress. Put on file. The next next report is the Finance Subcommittee report. Report and approval of the minutes of January 15, 2009 by James Leary, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. I'll be brief. Everybody, all the committee members were in attendance. The superintendent and her entire cabinet were in attendance. The mayor was in attendance. On the agenda, there was discussion of the current budget year, 0809. Mr. Lang went over the numbers verbatim in terms of where we were at and where we were spending things. Dialogue really concentrated at the point of areas where we were a little over 50%. Mr. Leahy pointed out, and we looked close at the short-term sick leave costs that we are currently having, and there was a motion made by Ms. Doherty and seconded by Mr. Leahy to request the Assistant Superintendent of Personnel to provide a report, midpoint report of 2009 school year, illustrating exactly where we were with the sick leave costs. So I guess that's the only real motion in terms of the meeting, and I make that in form of a motion that we request the Assistant Superintendent of Personnel to provide that midterm report.
Motion by Mr. Leary for the Assistant Superintendent to provide that report, seconded by Mr. Conway. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
And I guess the meeting really, we were discussing the current budget situation in terms of where the governor potentially may be making cuts not only to the city side, but also to Chapter 70 monies. At this point in time, we really haven't received the amounts of dollar figures where he will be making cuts, if he makes cuts at all to the city side of Chapter 70. The mayor pointed out clearly that we can anticipate that there will be some cuts, especially to the city side, and frankly, we should be preparing for some type of cut to Chapter 70, although the amounts as of our meeting were unknown. We've learned that at some point, either over the weekend or early next week, the governor will be making these recommendations. As to what they specifically are, we're not sure. At that point, instead of getting into a long dialogue of what may happen this year, what may not, we're going to table this until we actually find out what those numbers are. Although the superintendent and her staff, as well as the members of the committee, are making plans at this point to take a look where changes may need to be made. And one example was the Parent Information Center, which the aforementioned Parent Information Center change, which we've already did. We also discussed next year's budget briefly. I believe the 2010 budget. Mr. Lang will be preparing discussions with all school principals beginning in February, which is a good 30 days earlier than we normally do, and we'll have more meetings with the Finance Committee, and I imagine as all the members of the school committee have made it to the last Finance Subcommittee meeting, it'll be a very large group of folks. So I take that as a report of progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to accept the reporter's report of progress by Mr. Leary, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor of accepting the report and placing it on file, indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Report has been placed on file. The next report, Facilities Subcommittee Report and approval of the minutes of January 20th, 2009 by Chairman John Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Facilities Subcommittee met Tuesday morning at 9:30, present with myself, Jackie Doherty, and James Leary. Superintendent of Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Jay Lang, and Brian Curley, Director of Operations and Maintenance. Basically, this was just a meeting for housekeeping. Mr. Curley gave us a report on district-wide highlights of projects that have been going on in the past year and presently going on. So we talked about having the roofs replaced at the Riley and the Bartlett, the boiler at the Riley, a couple of...
John, that has been done, hasn't it?
No, it has been done. He just updated
okay.
us, just saying that we, what we have been doing. And we did want to thank the city for those big projects. Highlights that Mr. Curley pointed out to us, a couple of things that show that they're really on top of this. He's got some preventative maintenance service contracts that he's entered into for cleaning equipment of, say, bleachers, fire extinguishers, air compressors. So what this allows is for us to save money over the year. Instead of calling for service on demand when things are broken, we've entered into service contracts that regularly upgrade and make sure that we're on top of these items. So in the long run, we save money. He talked about replacement of high wattage lighting fixtures, the lamps. So we're trying to save money in our schools that way also. And basically, we just did a little housekeeping, making sure over the years we've talked about our phone services. We try to replace phone service at the schools that become outdated. We try to do one a year. In the past, we've done like the Riley school system had a very old school system. We replaced that and upgraded it. So we basically just did a little housekeeping. And on the agenda, we also talked about the just keeping up with the snow at the schools. We've had a lot of snow this year. We just want to make sure that we're on top of the sidewalks, keeping the call ROTC, keeping the handicap parking spaces cleared out. So the meeting lasted about an hour, and we really didn't have any motions. It was just, like I said, basically housekeeping and just to keep us updated as a committee on what we're doing with our facilities.
John, it's an excellent report, and it gives everyone an eyeball view of everything that's happening.
Sure, a little bit of every school, what we've been doing.
And everything I see that I'm looking at here, the DPW, the city's involved in.
Sure, yeah,
So-
yep.
so
Mr.
they're doing a
Curley,
great
Jay
job,
Lang's
too.
office, working in conjunction with DPW to keep our schools up. Thank you.
Thank you. Accept the reporter's report of progress. Motion to accept the report.
Move
of report of
approval.
progress. Mr. Leahy, move approval by Ms. Fattacani. All in favor of accepting the reporter's report of progress, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I just want to let you know that we had a visitor in our city from Nova Scotia over the weekend, and the visitor indicated to me, I can't believe how well you plow your streets and clear the snow. And they obtain a lot of snow up in Nova Scotia.
Well,
so.
Your Honor, it snows 9 months of the year there.
But I was happy to hear that, and I told T.J. McCarthy about the positive comment. And John, believe me, those guys are straight out, and they've seen more snow this year than they've seen in probably 7 years. So they're doing their best, believe me.
Global warming.
Thank you. Curriculum Subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of January 20th, 2009 by Connie Martin, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Meeting did just take place last night. Present from the subcommittee were myself, Jackie Doherty, and Jimmy Leary. From central office, Dr. Scott, Jean Franco, Jim Neary, our school improvement coordinator. We also had representation from the UTL, Kate McLaughlin. Couple of quick topics really to discuss tonight. I'll take the first two together. We had two requests from researchers and literacy companies to videotape in our schools, to be able to look at our best practices, be able to use those as tools for other teachers working to improve their skills. I think they are two very interesting proposals, and I think I'm representing the feelings of the subcommittee. There were, however, a number of questions that we'd like to get a little more information on before we enter into any kind of approval of either one of these requests. So, again, as a report of progress, we did discuss it. We're well aware of the concerns of that have been prevalent in our district, and our real commitment to ensuring that as we participate in these things, that they have real benefit here in Lowell, that we adhere to all the standard practices in terms of confidentiality and privacy and all those other topics. So it is something that the subcommittee is particularly aware of, and has requested that the administration develop more information for us. We'll be reconvening so that we can get that information and then make, again, a better informed decision moving forward in terms of a recommendation to the full committee. We received an update on the adolescent literacy project, which has been going on throughout our district at the middle school level, as well as the freshman academy. The subcommittee was informed of where we are in terms of the adolescent literacy workshops, which recently took place. We also discussed moving forward how the literacy leadership team has been engaged in this effort, how the audit information that has really just been received and is still being processed, the administration will be reporting back to us on to give us a better sense of what that data really means here in the city of Lowell. So we'll be looking forward to getting that additional information. And I think more than anything, what I've been struck by in this whole process has been the efforts to include teachers in the decision-making and get those voices heard as we make these choices moving forward. It's particularly challenging to in this current fiscal environment because it is extremely difficult to find dollars to invest. And we all recognize that literacy obviously mandates that you have books is a key component of that. And it's very challenging, and we all recognize that. So we'll be making, as we move forward, we hope some very frugal moves in the right direction. And administration, again, in working with teachers and other administrators throughout the district, will be submitting a plan to the curriculum office moving forward as to how we keep this effort moving. The next topic we discussed was in terms of our professional development planning district-wide. We have been discussing ways that we can save money in the district, ways that we can improve the quality and the level of professional development in our district. The subcommittee did not make any, I don't think, final decisions really, but we did entertain information from the administration regarding moving back to the previous structure for professional development in our district, which was district-wide half days, early release days, where teachers would stay and receive their professional development during the course of the regular school year. There are benefits and there are detriments in that. I think that it led to certainly a very engaged conversation about the subcommittee, and I feel confident the full committee's concern that moving towards this, recognizing that there is real cost savings to be found, and that is certainly tempting and something that we're looking for around every corner. But we do want to ensure that the professional development provided is of the highest standard, that making this change means different types of financial outlays for us, and it is critically important that what we invest in terms of professional development absolutely has to provide our teachers and ultimately our students with a better, stronger, higher degree of quality education in every classroom. And that is something that this committee certainly, I know, supports, and will be looking for some additional information as we move forward. The final topic we discussed was the school goals, school improvement updates. I know that on the floor we've discussed the learning walks that are happening in our schools that have been deemed Commonwealth priority schools. I think that this effort certainly is critical to improving the levels of performance in these schools. As already to date, this current school year, our schools have submitted to our superintendent objectives and goals based on grade level in both English language arts and mathematics. And really it's the job of our administration and both from central office and school site staff to ensure that the quality of these objectives is appropriate and that all of the supports are in place so that schools can indeed reach these goals. Again, I applaud the administration in their efforts to ensure that teachers are heard in these times on these topics, because I do think that they can offer us great insights as to what the real challenges are, and I guess most importantly, what the real tools and resources that are necessary for us to find success in these schools that so desperately need it. So I would submit that in total as a report of progress from the Subcommittee on Curriculum Instruction, and would welcome any insights or additional information from both the administration if they feel I've missed anything, or any of my colleagues who are in attendance.
An excellent report, Connie. No, this report was on the minutes on January 20th. There were 3 on the 14th, I believe, and I believe the 15th. So that's it, the whole package? Okay. Motion to accept the report of progress by Connie Martin, seconded by Ms. Doherty. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The reports have been accepted, placed on file. Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to make one comment. I think that my colleague did an excellent job of representing the work of the subcommittee last night. And many of the big decisions, especially around professional development, as she indicated, we're going to be looking for some more information. But I just feel compelled to make this one brief comment that as we look at trying to tighten our budget, and certainly the idea of having an early release day once a month for the K to 8 group, because we are already doing that at the high school, so that our teachers can get together and do very important planning and collaboration and professional development, has some merits to it. It would save us on the cost of substitute teachers, which is how we currently do it. It's also gives teachers a concentrated period of time that is not squeezed in around the school day. But that also has to be weighed against the loss of time on learning for our students. And that's a very serious issue because we all recognize that we don't have enough time for the students already. And if we took, a Wednesday half day once a month, the kids go home. The other piece of that that really concerns me is how do the families deal with that, the working families that are many of our families here in Lowell, where there isn't a mom or dad or, somebody at home when, Mary gets off the bus at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday. So there's a lot of issues that we have to look at with professional development and how we can save money and still, I think what's really important is to have an effective professional development program also has to be key. But as we go forward with, if the cuts are as bad as they could be, we may be looking at not having professional development. One of the things we asked for was a report of what are the costs we're talking about for substitute teachers, aside from the ones that are grant mandated. Not that I don't value professional development, I do, but I think it's more important, as the senator said earlier tonight, to have that teacher in front of those children and to go with the professional development we've done, the work we've done, the coaching that we have in the schools. That might be an option for us to keep more teachers in front of students. And I think as we go forward, we'll get more information, but this is a serious issue, and how we look at those tough decisions of saving money and maintaining the quality of the education program always has to be at the forefront. Thank you.
I agree. Any other discussion? Moving on with the agenda. I just want to say that I attended a breakfast last Friday morning in Andover at the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce, and there were various administrators, mayors, managers, and so forth, and they all presented the gloom and doom, the outlook, and I indicated that we all have to roll up our sleeves, pull up the bootstraps, and come up with innovative ways of getting through this fiscal dilemma. And this school committee and the school superintendent and the staff will have to do the same. And the most important thing in any school is the classroom, teacher, and the children that are in that classroom. Everything else is secondary, everything. If you remove the teacher, you're removing the education from that child. Moving on with the agenda. Reports of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor. The new refugee students that are coming from Burma and Iraq, and I think if I can, I'll just read a few excerpts from this long memo, but just so that everybody at home also knows that we are expecting a great deal more students this coming school year. So the United States government has recently begun to resettle small numbers of refugees in Burma and Iraq in various cities across the country. The Massachusetts Office for Refugees and Immigrants, together with the International Institute of Lowell, are the local agencies responsible for resettling some of these refugees in Lowell. The International Institute of Lowell has a contract with the U.S. government to resettle 100 free cases of Burmese and Iraqi refugees in Lowell between October 1st of 2008 and September 31st, 2009. A free case can consist of a single individual or a family with children. 100 free cases translates on an average to 300 individuals, including about 100 children. Additionally, due to a high number of Burmese orphans, the Office of Refugees and Immigrants is looking for foster families to place 20 unaccompanied minors to eastern Massachusetts. In the fall of 2008, some 15 Burmese and Iraqi free cases were resettled already in Lowell, including about 20 school-aged children. As low-incidence students, they are enrolled in the Green Elge, the Robinson, and the Lowell High School. The International Institute has been informed that 30 free cases will arrive in April 2009. The rest of the cases are expected to resettle in Lowell in May and the summer of 2009. Consequently, the Lowell School Department needs to prepare for the arrival of these newcomers in order to meet their educational needs. I'd like to inform the school committee that that work has already begun, and we will continue the great tradition of welcoming these immigrants into the city of Lowell and do everything that we can to ensure that their transition is smooth and that they are successful in our school district.
Madam Superintendent, just one question. This city has been known for decades, opening its arms to immigrants and refugees. Is the federal government going to step to the plate with any federal assistance in a monetary way?
Yes, my understanding is that is the case, but I would like to ask Deputy Gianfranco if she has further details on that amount of money. We may not know at this time.
At this particular point, there has been no commitment, money commitment. We know we're getting the children. We know we have to start restructuring, make sure there's room for the children. This will have budget implications, and we will keep people totally informed as we go through the process. But at this point, there has been no dollar figure attached to this, so we do not know that at this particular point. But I have been visiting the Greenouch, the Robinson schools, where we do have some of these newcomers. We have been in touch with the International Institute, who can talk to us about the acculturation pieces that we need to know about and the training. And what we're going to do is say, what happens if we get 30 immigrants? How much would that cost? And how would we set up newcomer programs? And that is budget implications, and so we need to look at what happens if we have 30 kids, what happens if we have 50, and this city knows about that from your Cambodian influx, that you have to have a plan and you have to know how we're going to, so we'll have phases, and we'll bring that forward through subcommittee and get it to the committee as a whole.
Madam Superintendent?
I think it's important, although we don't know the number right now, I'm not saying we're taking it totally off the table that there isn't going to be any funds coming, but just that we don't know at this time. We may get back to you, unfortunately, with the information that, given the fiscal climate, there isn't any, but we trust that there will be some support.
Okay. I imagine Congresswoman Tsongas' office has been contacted to see if there's any federal funding, or Senator Kerry's office. And, you know, like I said, this city has opened its arms to everyone, but if there's federal money there, we should certainly seek it and go after it. Thank you. The next, social skills and violence.
Social skill.
We'll do it all at once.
Social skills and violence prevention programs. I'd like to bring the committee's attention to all of the various programs, and I won't read this memo to you word for word, but I would like to point out the excellent programs that we presently have in all of our schools with regards to social skills development, mentoring, developing conflict resolution skills. We have some of what are considered across the country to be some of the best social skills development programs, entitled Second Step, Peer Mediation Program, Open Circle Program, Caring School Communities Program, and Community of Caring Program. And at the back of your memo, there's a chart, and I thank Ann Murphy for all her efforts in putting this very detailed report together, and all of the schools are listed there with all the programs with regards to the programs that they use for social skills and violence prevention programs. I think it is important for the committee to know that each one of these programs just aren't dropped into a school. A lot of professional development goes into having these programs run successfully. Where these programs are the most successful is where you have had not only professional development of staff, but buy-in from the parent community, the families, and students. So it is very impressive the amount of work that has been done here on this issue.
Thank you. We'll take a report of progress after it.
The next report is our October 1st enrollment report, and there's just a couple things we'd like to say. Of course, the October The first report is the report that our Chapter 70 money is based on. Every student in the district, depending on their grade level, elementary, middle school, or high school, determines the amount of money that the district will receive from the state. This year, our total enrollment is 13,400. When I signed off on that number, I asked, was that rounded up or down? Exactly 400? And just joking, because of course it wasn't rounded up or down, but just by coincidence, it was an even number. So, and I won't go through the entire breakdown of all of these numbers, but I do think it is interesting to note again that throughout our system, our school district services and provides an education to students from all over the world, and we have many children who have English as a second language, approximately 45%, which is really significant, and we do a great job educating all of our students. Next report. It was requested by, I believe Mrs. Doherty, clarification on the language in the teacher's contract with regards to the additional parent-teacher meeting after school. And just so the committee knows that I have since forwarded this to all of our principals, and I have asked them to report back on how, in fact, they have used or plan on using this additional hour, so that I can report back to the committee on what exactly is being done with this block of time in the contract.
Yes.
Through you, Your Honor, I'd like to comment to the superintendent. I thought that we had a motion asking for a plan about how we would most effectively use these parent-teacher meetings. We have one evening meeting, and this committee negotiated for this one afternoon meeting, which was supposed to take in effect September of 2007. My understanding was no afternoon meetings were held last year at all. When we had the discussion, I thought it was brought forward, I don't know if you have a recollection of that, that we don't have enough time as it is for
Right.
teachers and parents to get together. We recognize that.
Exactly.
But I personally don't have a clear sense that there's a consistent plan across the district to at least make the best use of the little time that we do have.
Right.
And I remember sitting right here and saying something to the effect that if we had a letter that went out, I know of other districts that do this, where they say it's after the first report card, and the letter goes out to parents and says, next week is time to come in, and you can come in and talk to your teacher, your child's teacher. We have a Tuesday night available or a Wednesday afternoon. You send this paper in about what, some plan. Right now, my understanding is the evening meetings are usually used for open houses in the fall. So there's no time for parents to be invited in and speak one-on-one with their teachers. Now, we've got these limited opportunities, but I would really like to see some plan from the administration, and certainly different principals might want to approach it in a different way, but a plan that says we are going to outreach to parents and do what we can with these two blocks, albeit, short blocks of time that we have. So I'm still looking for that feedback from the administration.
So it's a verbal request for Ms. Doherty.
It was actually voted on this floor. I don't remember exactly when. I couldn't tell you
I
the date.
remember that.
It was, no, I think, at that time, the
Madam
superintendent was not clear on the language.
Right.
But we did have this conversation. It was when Superintendent Scott was here, but we hadn't got the language yet about that afternoon meeting.
Just, Mayor, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think part of the issue was the language, because we're switching administrations. We did negotiate an additional parent-teacher conference. The language was a little unclear, so we asked the superintendent, could you understand that language? What I think the superintendent is doing now, and what I agree with, and incidentally, let me back up. I agree with Ms. Doherty. A clear plan is good, but before we get to a clear plan, because we did switch administrations, it'd be good to find out exactly what we are doing today, so we could create a plan based on some of the stuff that we're doing that works, and eliminate the stuff that doesn't work. So while I agree with Ms. Doherty that we should have a plan, I think the superintendent is actually going through the steps to get to that place. Again, remember, superintendent came here in July. There's been a lot of good stuff that's gone on. The superintendent's gone to every single school, listening to all the teachers, listening to all the administrators, really give them some of their ideas as to what's happening. So as far as the parent-teacher thing, that's just another thing that we need to address. I think we will address it. Thank you.
Ms. Madden?
Thank you very much. And I think also, I mean, one of the key things as we're developing what will be, I mean, recognizing that we need to know what's currently in place, but that we're really trying to move forward and make these more substantive, these opportunities for parent-teacher exchanges. I have to say, you know, based on conversations previous to this and on what Ms. Doherty was just sharing, I have to say I very strongly feel that we have limited time to offer our parents to come in and speak with teachers. And I have to say that an open house, I don't believe, is the most effective way to use that time. If it is the only time that we have available to us based on our union contracts, then I think we would, I don't want to say we would be better served because it really has very little to do with us. Our parents would be better served if they had the opportunity to avail themselves of the one-on-one meetings that I think can have such a profound impact on the quality of their relationship with the school their child attends and with their child's experience. You know, we all know that historically elementary school is where these meetings tend to happen the most. That's where parents are the most, you know, anxious and engaged and want to be part of this process. And our job as a district is to ensure that they have that opportunity, that they are welcomed, that they are encouraged. And I think that, you know, an open house is a lovely event, and it's a nice idea in the best of times when you have that kind of time to work with. But in our district, the reality is that we do not have that time. And what time we have has to be focused and used extremely well. It's like every other resource. Time is a resource just like money. And this committee felt strongly enough about parent-teacher meetings and opportunities that we did negotiate it into our last contract. So I would hope that as we move forward, as the administration is crafting what the future will look like, that I really hope that we can take into account that open houses and math nights and things like that, while very nice events and endeavors, don't serve the purpose that this time is really meant to serve. Thank you.
Mr. Leahy, and then Mr. Conway.
As senior member, I'll go first. The committee over, Mr. Conway.
What was that again?
Basically, what I had to add for this is I don't think the open house is the actual parent meeting, right? So that doesn't count in my mind. All right, but that shouldn't count because you can't speak to your teacher when you go to open house.
Right.
It's just to look at the classroom. So we have the open house. We should have the nightly parent-teacher meeting. And then, as Ms. Doherty said, I think it was probably 3 years ago, we negotiated the afternoon meeting.
How long ago?
2 or 3 years ago, at least. So, and I recognize what my colleague said, we've changed administrations, but this is something we have asked for, and whether the ball got dropped on our side or the administration side, we should have this extra meeting. So, in my mind, we have the open house, and we should have 2 parent-teacher meetings, one in the afternoon, one at night. And I don't see any reason why we can't have that, this year. So I just think it's time we get the ball rolling, and we just say, it's in the contract, we should have it, and let's get going on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Conway?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to be very brief in this, I think that no matter what we do, I think we should be consistent with the 3 levels of education. 9 through 12 presently has a parent-teacher night. I find that to be very effective. It gives a great opportunity for the parents to go around the high school, visit the different classrooms, take a look at the facilities that we have, and also have that opportunity to talk to each and every one of their teachers. And I think if we can do something like that that might mirror what they do at 9 through 12 on the K through 4 and the 5 through 8, I think that might be the most effective way to go. Because the feedback that you get from teachers and from parents, that it's an effective night. We obviously reach out and we try to get as many parents in as we possibly can. Quite often we don't get some of the parents that we really need to talk to, but I think that's one of the efforts that the administration in each one of the schools and the teachers must let the parents know when that particular night will take place.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think Ms. Doherty had the perfect request to ask the superintendent to bring something forward that would be beneficial. Can you, Madam Superintendent?
Just to clarify a few points. One, I do appreciate the school committee's position on this issue and share your concern that presently our teacher's contract does not give us adequate time with our families to discuss academic progress of our students. That is definitely an issue. Just for the background on my entry point into this, I believe it was at my first meeting, if it wasn't my second. In fact, Ms. Doherty, that you did ask for this to be clarified. I went away from that meeting, and I will say I believe I went away with the understanding that I was looking for a half day in the contract to have parent-teacher meetings that basically school districts have across the Commonwealth. And so when I came and looked at the contract, I saw that it was only an additional hour. So at that time, in July, I did send you that language and saying we only have an hour. I don't have a half a day to plan. And so at that point, different things occurred and happened, and I'm not making excuses, but just so that I do want the committee to be assured that, in fact, we do have, that this will be implemented this year, and there's plenty of time to do that. My first step in doing that, and our principals are very forthcoming and responsive. This email has gone out. This request has been made. I have asked June to check who has responded within 4 business days, and whoever hasn't responded, we will follow up and ask them what the plan is, and that will be our beginning point to look at our plan to see, because again, I don't want to publicly state maybe this hour is presently being used very wisely, and again, just I think it's a little bit of my inexperience in Lowell not to know exactly how this 1 hour is being used at every site at this point, but I want to get that information so that the plan that we do bring forward is informed, and that we are using this to the best advantage of informing parents what exactly their child needs to work on, what their strengths are. And so again, a hallmark sign of a high-performing school district is parental involvement. Not just parental involvement in extracurricular activities, which is obviously crucial for youth development, but also to have parents involved in the academic process, to encourage children to sit down, families to sit down and do their homework together. But we really do need to look at how we are. I have made note that and I appreciate Ms. Martin's point, and the administration again concurs with the point that I want to know the contract language around the open house. Is it open house language in the contract, or can we redirect that time? Because if we have to pick and choose, I do believe the committee's position, from what from here from each of you, to support that discourse and dialogue around academic achievement with families needs to be a priority. And although, of course, open houses, the intent is to bring families into our schools and to welcome them so that they feel part of that academic journey. So it's a little bit like picking your favorite child. It's very difficult, but we have such limited resources that those are the choices that we'll have to make. Thank you again, Ms. Doherty.
Does that answer your question? Okay. Right. Moving on with the reports of the superintendent. Are we on the...
Yes. This is the Community Service Learning Grant, and we have good news to share with the committee this evening. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has invited both the Rogers, the environmental team, and the Daily, the Internet Safety Project middle schools to register for a conference that will occur in May. And both schools were asked to represent Lowell Public Schools. And the details of their work is here, and we just wanted to congratulate the schools, not only the staff involved in this program, but the students as well. The Lowell Lodge of Elks. Once again, the Lowell Lodge of Elks has informed the school department that they have purchased dictionaries for all three third graders, in our district. Distribution will begin to take place as early as tomorrow, and we thank the Lowell Lodge of Elks for this generous donation to our students. We will invite the members of the Elks to our future school committee meeting. At this meeting, we will honor them with a spotlight on excellence and thank this organization publicly for its continued generosity.
Are they going to bring dictionaries?
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
excellent dictionaries.
they were excellent
I
dictionaries.
use it all the time.
And they actually brought them all for all members the first time. This is the third year the Elks did, and I just want to speak on it briefly. I'm a member of the Elks, and I want to, the folks that put this together, like Eddie Sullivan and Mr. Preventure and other members, are doing really a great job. So I want to commend my brother and sister Elks for doing a great service. These dictionaries are pretty cool, and as Ms. Fedicani said, they're usable, and I think our folks appreciate them. So thank you to the Elks.
The benevolent Order of Elks, they just do great things, whether it's the schools, for nonprofits and charities and so forth. Miss Martin, did you? Oh, new business. Okay. Can we accept all those reports?
And Your Honor, I must echo Committeeman Leary's statement regarding the dictionaries. The last time the Elks were here, we all got one, and I got a chance to bring the dictionary home and actually open it. It is a fabulous book, because not only is it a dictionary, Your Honor, but it gives the capital to states, it gives geographical information. I mean, we don't teach a lot of geography anymore, and it just gives incredible geographical information. It speaks to children about the gross national product of different countries. It is a wonderful learning tool. So yeah, I'm putting in my dibs to get another one, because I left it, I left it someplace and somebody nabbed it from me. So so our thanks to the Lowell Lodge of Elks, and we probably should send a letter of thanks to
Could we
them, Your
send a
Honor.
letter of thanks and our gratitude?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Second.
Accept the report from the superintendent as report of progress by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Mr. Leary. All in favor of accepting the reports, place them on file, indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? The reports have been accepted and placed on file. Convention, new business, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just as we discussed during one of the previous subcommittees, we have now created 2 new positions that will need to be posted in regards to this reorganization at the Parent Information Center in its new incarnation as our Family Resource Center. So I would, under new business, like to put forth a motion that this committee accept and instruct the administration to post these 2 new positions, the first being the Family Resource Center Coordinator, and the second being this one I have to read, Specialist for Community Outreach and Support of English Language Learners and Families. So I would make that in the form of a motion.
Your Honor, a motion to suspend the rules.
Oh, I
to bring in-
apologize.
It's okay. Motion to, see, June, you taught me well. You might not have taught Senator Pangiatakis, but I learned. Motion to
In
suspend.
the city council, we just let that go right by.
No, we don't, Your Honor. Not here. We are a committee of rules.
Yes.
You are structured.
Thank you.
And listen, you better listen to her, because
I do.
okay. So, she's kept us out of trouble
Motion
for
to
20
suspend the
years.
rules by
Motion
Ms.
to suspend the
Fedicani,
rules.
seconded by Mr. Conway. Roll call?
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Leahy. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Miss Doherty.
Yes.
Miss Fedicante.
Yes.
7 yeas approved.
Now the chair will recognize this.
And I thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would put forth a motion to approve these 2 job postings and have the administration begin the process of trying to fill these positions.
Seconded by Ms. Fedicante.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Fedicante. 1. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Miss Doherty.
Yes.
Miss Fedicante.
Yes.
7 yeas approved.
And I might say that this motion and this vote taken by this elected body, I think, is the start of the reorganization of the school department and bring our house into some stability, efficient stability. Okay, Madam Superintendent.
Your Honor, if the committee would please indulge me just for 1 minute, that I would like to acknowledge all of the students who are taking part in the Operation Rosebud, and just to highlight Barack Obama's speech yesterday to all of our students and to our countrymen and women, that for us to move forward in this great land, we do need to work together. We do need to give back to our communities, and I think that that was a wonderful message of social responsibility that Barack Obama, our new president, shared with all of our students. And it was such a historical day, and some of our students were able to see the inaugural celebrations and the ceremony itself. And as Assistant Superintendent Ann Murphy shared with me a story today when she was in a classroom, that one of our teachers was telling her that when Barack Obama was beginning his oath, all the students automatically, spontaneously rose in the room out of respect. And I just thought that was captured the respect that our students have in our classrooms for the civic responsibility, for the greatness that President Barack Obama portrayed to the country, and the vision and hope that he's offered all of us. So I think it was a wonderful day and a wonderful example for our students. And Senator Steve Panagiotakis obviously is a role model for not only our students but for us on giving back to our communities, and that's Barack Obama's message, as well as reaching out to our community at large. In these tough financial times, the Lowell plan sponsored tonight the reception that we had for Senator Steve Panagiotakis, because the school department just isn't in a position to do that. But again, reaching out to our community partners to ask them to support us, and Jim Cook and the Lowell plan was more than gracious in wanting to do that. So we thank them going forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And as Mr. Samaras noted, during the presentation of the ROTC students, he also indicated the Lowell plan contributed immensely.
Mm-hmm.
The Enterprise Bank and Woodward and Curran to the success of this program, and there's some more business people going to come forward. And everything we do in our city, almost everything, it's supported and funded by the business community. And believe me, we cannot thank them enough, because whether it's Winterfest, the Folk Festival, raising money for a food bank, the business community is there all the time, and we appreciate it immensely. Okay, Madam Superintendent, did you want to continue with the...
Yes, thank you.
We're all done with new business?
Yes.
Okay.
Conferences. The headmaster, William Samaras, and Paul Georges and myself have been invited to the American Federation of Teachers 11th Annual Center for School Improvement Institute. This conference takes place January 22nd through January 25th, and I am pleased to say that although our presence was requested at this conference, my initial response was that we could not attend due to the difficult financial times, and the AFT for the state offered to pay our way. So they really did want us to work with and continue to work with our association to move our schools forward and to improve school achievement. So we are very pleased with that invitation and look forward to seeing what is being done at the national level with regards to administration.
Madam Superintendent, I might say that this trip will pay dividends. I know it will.
I'm thinking it will,
Yes.
Your Honor.
Go
Thank
right
you.
ahead.
The second one is James DeProvio, Athletic Director, would like to attend the MIAA Leadership Training in Franklin from Monday, January 26th through Friday, January 30th. There are no costs to the school department budget, and no substitute is required. And when I was speaking with Mr. DeProfrio today about this matter, just to get the particular details and to further understand what this event was about, he also did mention, and he in no way intended me to pass this along to the committee, but I think it is noteworthy that he went to a conference, a national conference earlier in the fall, which the school committee did approve, but given the financial times that we are facing, he did not take any funds from the school department to fund that trip, and he funded it himself. So I just wanted to thank Mr. DeProfio for being sensitive to our issues, and we're glad that he went on that conference, and will be hopefully approved that he goes on this one as well. Lowell High School teacher Ms. Hackham to visit the Jeremiah Burke High School in Dorchester, Mass. from Sunday, March 8th through Wednesday, March 11th as part of New England Associations of Schools and Colleges visiting team. Only cost will be $300 for substitute coverage and will be paid by individual school funds. The Lowell High School wrestling team and coach Tim O'Keefe to attend the following MIAA-sponsored and sanctioned events Friday to Saturday, February the 20th and 21st. The MIAA Divisional State Championship in Springfield, Mass. Friday and Saturday, March 6th and 7th, 2009, New England High School Wrestling Championship at New Haven, Connecticut. Cost of both events will be paid by the Lowell High School Athletics Department budget. And number 5, Deborah Webster, a physical therapist, to attend the 25th International Seating Symposium to be held March 12th to the 14th in Orlando, Florida. The cost is $1,532 and will be funded through the Special Education Grant. I would like the committee to know that I did ask through Ann Murphy's office further details on Ms. Webster's request to attend the conference in Florida, and my understanding after receiving that information is that this is a conference very specialized to fitting children in wheelchairs, and so because of that and because of the specialty with regards to that type of information, it was and that it was being paid for out of a grant, it was being brought forward to you to make that decision.
Madam Superintendent, just
Yes.
one question. Mr. Conway, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask the superintendent a few questions in regards to the number 5, the physical therapist going to Orlando, Florida there.
Yes.
Does the PT, the physical therapist, do the duties include today, would they include the assessment of a student as far as the seating is concerned in a chair?
That's my understanding, but I would like clarification and to ask Ann Murphy if she's aware, I believe.
Currently, we have 3 physical therapists in our system, and they're all assigned to various schools. But this particular physical therapist has the additional duties of doing the assessment for all of the children in the wheelchairs, students who are special education and students who are on 504s. We have 34 students in the district who have manual or motorized wheelchairs.
Does she also do the ordering for those chairs?
She works as the liaison between the district and the physicians, and the children's parents and the physicians in terms of ordering the equipment and helping with the insurance.
So would she also be the contact person for the funding source then? Is that what you're saying?
Contact person in terms of...
For the funding of that seat,
Mass Health
of the
was
chair?
going. Yes, yes.
She would be.
She would work with the family and the physician who was going to be ordering the seat to make sure that the seat is going to fit the child appropriately and be what the child needs. Usually, the funding comes through Mass Health or the student's insurance.
So it's, in other words, it's not done by the physician or by the hospital, is that what you're saying?
The physician and the hospital would write up the prescription for a new wheelchair. She is the liaison, so she speaks with the physician and the hospitals around the needs of the student within the educational environment for the wheelchairs, so that the students can have access to the curriculum and the programs within the schools.
This symposium in Orlando, Florida is $1,532. Now, and I see here where it's funded through a special ed grant. That's correct, right? Okay.
Correct.
Are we mandated by the grant to send this particular PT to this particular symposium?
No, we are not.
We're not.
No, we are not.
Do we have another symposium that might be, seating symposium that might be close by, for example, in Massachusetts?
Not that I'm aware of.
I believe that there is a company called National Seating and Mobility, and that's a national company that is a vendor for numerous manufacturers of seating-related equipment, highly respected in the country, and they are going to be having a seating symposium somewhere in Massachusetts in either March or early April of this year. I'm just curious if we have done enough, if we've done research to find out if there are more of these symposiums, seating symposiums available that we could utilize, and perhaps we could take that $1,532 and use it perhaps in another area, again, through grants, through that grant. But why are we sending her down to Florida when we could have something up here in Massachusetts?
School committeeman, I'm not aware of anything in Massachusetts. It's not my field. I would certainly be willing to take whatever information and specifics that you have regarding a symposium here in Massachusetts and bring it to her attention so that she can look into it.
I'm just wondering whether the head of special ed has looked into this to find out whether there are. Have you talked to the head of special ed whether there are other?
I have not asked her specifically if there was any type of research into Massachusetts symposiums, no.
Yeah, all I'm doing is, and by the way, I think this is it's a great opportunity, but I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity to stretch that $1,532. That's what I'm looking at right here, because this seems like a lot of money, especially in these difficult times, sending someone to Florida. And if we could have the same type of, if this particular individual could get the same type of knowledge close by, why not?
Madam Superintendent, did you want to weigh in on this?
I just would like to clarify that this is the international seating symposium, and again, this isn't my area of expertise, but I do appreciate the fact that this is the organization where people from all around the world who have expertise in this particular area of adjusting and making wheelchairs fit for children with special needs would attend. So my assumption when I saw the international part was that it will be of a caliber that will be of world class, and all of the people who are in this particular field, one would assume, would be there. So that doesn't mean that locally within the Commonwealth further research could be done if that was the wish of the school committee. But just there is a certain international caliber of.
Ms. Faticani?
Thank you, Your Honor. May I ask a question of Assistant Superintendent through you, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent Murphy, explain to me the special ed grant. How much money do we have there? What's it used for? Thank you. What are we using it for? Thank you. Tell me what that special ed grant is comprised of.
This is coming out of the money is coming out of the professional development grant. And in the past, the state has put some restrictions on that special education grant in terms of only using it to work with students with autism, or using the professional development money for students with have mental health issues. This year, the grant is open, and the state is not putting restrictions on us, but it is a smaller grant that's used for professional development within the field of special education.
Your Honor, can you tell me the number of finances, the amount of money that's in that grant? Do we know? Mr. Lang?
I don't know off the top of my head.
One more question. I'm so sorry, Your Honor. Is it our expectation we will spend down this grant and not have to give any money back? I mean, that's the whole issue about getting a grant. We spend it down so we can apply for it next year and get as much money, because here's what I do appreciate. I appreciate that she's taking this conference on a grant, that she's not taking the conference from our regular ed or special ed budget. I would prefer that she take a conference closer to home, but now that the superintendent has explained to me about the caliber of individuals that will be there, because it will be an international conference, I am swayed somewhat to allow this to occur. But I will say, Your Honor, never in my years here did I realize that we were responsible for helping children fit into wheelchairs. I would have made the assumption that it is a parent's responsibility along with the doctor. Never in my comprehension of special ed would I ever think that we would be responsible for anything like that. I did not know that. And it's a huge surprise to me. And I didn't know when we started doing that, and I don't know how long we've been doing that, but it's a huge surprise to me that that is an undertaking of the school department, when in reality, I think it should be an undertaking of the parent and the doctor. I did not know that we were responsible for this. So it's an education to me to recognize that this is something that we undertake here in our school system.
Did someone
Assistant Superintendent Murphy?
I'm sorry, go
If I
ahead.
could, we have, multiple students who have just a variety of assistive technology needs, such as wheelchairs, walkers, prone standers, various adaptive equipment, and one of the responsibilities of the physical therapist is to make sure that the equipment is fitted exactly to the student. And as students grow, certainly a student who is in the first grade in a wheelchair, that wheelchair will not fit that child. Maybe by the child gets to be the third grade, a new seat is going to need to be ordered. And so the physical therapist works with the family and the physician to make sure that whatever wheelchair is ordered for the student, that wheelchair is appropriate for the student within the educational environment.
Someone on this? Nobody? Mr. Conway?
Just very quickly, I mean, I agree with Assistant Superintendent Murphy. Again, my point is, I think that the physical therapist could get that information in Massachusetts. I don't think that she has to go to Florida, to Orlando, to receive that information. Mr. Mayor, can we take these separately on a vote?
I'm going to make a motion to separate 5 from the other items, Your Honor.
Motion to separate the question.
Number 5?
From 5 from all the other questions. Seconded by Ms. Doherty. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have a question of my own. Madam Superintendent, is it imperative that we vote on this particular issue tonight?
No.
Seeing that the trip is in March?
Well,
As you wish.
I would defer that question to Assistant Superintendent Murphy. Do we have enough time to get more information between now and our first meeting in February?
Yes, and certainly if there is more information in terms of a Massachusetts symposium, one here, that would be wonderful information. If you could pass that along, we will certainly take a look at that and see if it is the same type of symposium and would provide our staff with the same kind of information. Absolutely.
I don't think there's one elected official here, including the superintendent and the staff, that doesn't want to see every child taken care of properly. But I can see where Mr. Conway is coming from. If that therapist can attend a symposium in New England, it would be a lot less expensive than going to Florida and probably come back with the same results.
So, Your Honor, I would make a motion to delay item number 5.
Motion to delay
Motion
item
to
number
delay
5.
5.
Can you refer the motion to delay the motion until the next school committee meeting?
Yes, to delay until the next school committee meeting.
Information will come back.
And information will come to us from the superintendent, Your
And if
Honor.
that information is warranted for this person to go to Florida, then we should support it. So motion to delay question 5, seconded by Ms. Doherty. All in favor, delaying?
Mayor, I want a roll call vote on that, please, because this is ridiculous, okay? If a member knew about something prior to it, instead of coming up here over $1,500 and embarrassing someone with knowledge about a local program, perhaps they would have made a phone call and provided that information instead of putting us through a good 10, 15-minute dissertation about, I know of a local program. I want a roll call vote. I'm going to vote no to delay it. I think I have an up and down vote, and let's get this over with. Thank you.
Roll call vote to delay question 5. Roll call.
Mr. Leahy.
No.
Mr. Larry.
No.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
5 yeas, 2 nays, passes.
Now, a motion to accept.
Motion
from the
to accept
superintendent,
items 1 through 4, Your Honor.
Seconded by Mr. Leahy.
Could I ask a question before we
Yes,
vote, too?
go right ahead.
Thank you. Through you to the superintendent, I just had a question on number 3, the substitute cost for the accreditation team. Is that, why do we pay, is this common that when someone do they volunteer, or is it sort of like reciprocation?
They're chosen.
They're chosen.
They're chosen?
Yes.
Yes.
But I mean, they're chosen, but it incurs a cost on us, though.
Yes.
Just like we're going to get some newcomers, we're not going to get any money for that either.
Okay. Has
So-
anybody ever asked, like, the New England,
They don't
pay for it, anything? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Why don't we take a roll call vote on the
1 through 4, Your Honor.
1 through 4? You have the motion in a second?
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Is there any other business to be brought forward, discussed, debated?
Motion to adjourn, Your Honor.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Conway. Thank you very much.